Hey guys, today is Tuesday, August the 8th of 2023, and I want to go over the dollar, energy, and metals. So without any further delay, let's get into it. I haven't given uranium spot some love, so I'm going to look at the futures real quick and see what's cooking here. What I'm noticing is that we have a little crossover in the MACD, but it's not that bad. I mean, we just had a nice little run out of this consolidation pattern, and now we kind of pulled back, which is natural. And now we're going to try to attempt to kiss and test this high here. So I went ahead and put a trend line to see if we could break above it. And if we do, which I think we will, you're going to test this high and then go into the supply zone. So far everything's looking good. I know if you watched my geometry of the uranium spot, you know that we're above the 45 degree. We're just chucking along around this little area. So that's positive. So that's good. And hopefully there's nothing, crazy going on with the Ukrainian war. I haven't heard a lot of the Ukrainian war. Interesting. I don't know what's cooking down there, but hopefully there's nothing crazy that could affect this sector. So let's continue. Let's go into our normal routine. Look at the energy. As you can see, crude is still chucking along, getting a little pullback here, which is, natural. As long as we don't close below $80, so far it's looking good. But you can see that the momentum is kind of losing speed on the daily. But we do have a squeeze play trigger, and the pressure's to the upside. Target was 83, and we hit it. If you look at the weekly, that's where the target is, right up here. And so far, I don't know what's gonna happen next. It's gonna pull back and then continue pushing higher. We'll see. RBOB, same thing. We hit our pivot of 289 and just stalled there. Although crude had a bigger move compared to RBOB, it's still in a squeeze play. Crude triggered long and RBOB hasn't. But you can see that RBOB retraced even more deeper compared to crude. We already have a PPS sell signal on RBOB. But we're in a range here, and we haven't established a range on crude yet. So it's 271 all the way to 291, and that's your range. And it's below the mobile bands, and you can see the sell signal, and you can see the pressure is deeper compared to crude. Let's look at natural gas. We got a nice little move to the upside. You can see looking nice here, going up, just kind of going sideways here. And PPS buy signal still on a squeeze play on the daily, and this is your range 278, low 248. Looks like I want to test that, and if we could push above 278, I think the high was 275. Yeah, we want to test then 287. And looking at heating oil is lovely. Got that nice little breakout. But if you look at the daily, you see that now we got a PPS sell signal, but it's early in the day. This could change. It all matters. The most important thing about these signal is the close. Once we close, then we know the PPS is in effect. But so far, it's on the day we're trading, so we got to watch it. But you can see that the histogram is turning blue, so there's a little weakness coming in. As long as we can stay above 292, we're looking good. Let's go into the metals. You can see that the metals, gold is now a little weaker. It broke the mobile bands, so the mobile bands are negative. Hikanashi candle trend is negative on the daily. You can see the histogram, and you're on a squeeze play in the last 2 days and on a squeeze play on the weekly. So it looks like pressure. Gold has pressure, and it looks like it wants to go to the downside. So it might test 1939, and it might test 1902. And I think the US dollar might want to go test the midpoint, the 50% level. You can see silver also about to crack, or maybe depends on the close today, but it's about to crack the mobile bands, which is 23.24. Looks like it wants to test 22.80 and maybe test 22.16, but it's the same thing as gold. Pressures to the downside. You can see silver is even deeper compared to gold. Look at that. We at least have a range here. On the daily, silver doesn't even have a range. It had it here, and it broke it when it broke 24.42. So it could test 22.79 all the way to 22.14. And this one I've been saying for the longest. This is the one you want to watch. And look where we're getting at. Look where copper's at, right at that trend line. Let me see if I can make this a little smaller. Look at that triangle, and it's just been in tight formation. So this is the one that, you know, if you're looking for a big move to happen, it's this one, copper. Let's see if this is going to hold, and if it sinks, let's see if it's a fake out, and then they want to reverse it because they try to trap bulls here, and they got a few. Now let's see if they're going to trap some bears. And if they don't, then they'll push it, and then, you know, you'll find this pivot here. And then if it continues, then that's the real move. Or, you know, it could reverse. And there's a lot of psychology with this stuff. Maybe it could reverse and then trap everybody, you know, all the bears, and then really explode it up. But, you know, the dollar is getting Momo, so maybe that's the path to go down. Palladium, same thing. It looks like it wants to test 1185. You can see very weak squeeze play. Squeeze play on the weekly, and it triggered short. So that looks good. Let's look at platinum. Platinum is the same thing. I mean, yeah, it's the dollar. The dollar's bringing pressure, and it looks like it wants to go to 894. Yep, 894. So let's see what's gonna go. Let's go to the dollar. Already covered that. See, the dollar tested 75, which is 102.08, and now it looks like it's getting more buyers. Maybe it wants to test this high up here of 102.84, and if it can break through that, is definitely going to kiss the 50%, which is 103.35. And I think that's where it's heading. So all these guys are probably going to test these key levels. Maybe copper's going to break down to the downside and maybe test 354. They're going to test these lows because the dollar looks like it wants to test again this area right here. And if it could push above it, then it's going to go test this 25% level, which is that 104.61. Okay, what am I looking at? What I wanted to cover. I got a couple more minutes. As you can see, natural gas pulled back in. Is at the value area high of like 280, 269 around there, somewhere around there. Volume was really good yesterday, so that's good. Let's go into our simple glance. We still don't have a MACD positive weekly signal yet, but so far, however, it's still, you know, positive here. MACD is positive here. We just hit this pivot high in this linear regression channel, kind of pulled back. Let's see if we can continue this momentum to the upside and at least maybe kiss and test the value area high of 277. Let's look at our levels real quick. And you can see that I put this trend line here and we pierced it, but then pulled right below it. As you can see it, this red line right here is this trend line that I just put. Pivot from here. You can see that we bounced on the overnight session and kissed it and then just pulled back right here. So let's look at some key levels for today. Midpoint for today is the 266. We need to hold this. And we made a high. Actually, the high of yesterday was 275. This is a low here. And if we could hold between this range and 266, we'll get another propulsion higher, and targets on the daily would be 280. This trend line, which is, I believe, this one up here, and then 285. On the weekly, we already hit 275. The big one for the week is 281, which is this one right here. And that 281, that reminds you of the square of 9, again, square of 9. So those are the big picture. And 279 up here, which is last month's high. So last month's high is 279. Weekly range, 281. We got to take out 275. And for the day, which is Tuesday, 280. And trend line, and 285 upside. And we hold 268. So you can see that the day range is good. The weekly is good. We're above all our midpoints except the month. I already hit my 10-minute mark. Let's look at the square of 9 real quick. And I think I did a sloppy job here last time. Let's see if I could get this right. So 302 high leads you to 278. Keep an eye on that. The 194 low, 277. The 199, 274. There was a high of 268. Takes us to 278. So what I'm just trying to show you, there's a big cluster right here of energy focusing on this little area. So we need to continue chucking and push through it here and at least get to 281. If we get to 281 and hold that, we definitely, probabilities are high, we're going to go to 289. But this is your energy focus cluster of different high points, all energizing this area right here. So we got to see if we could just blow right through this area. And we stall at 275, but if we could get above here and get to 281, which is this high up here, things are going to look very good to at least get to 289. Hopefully you like this video. I'll keep you posted on my thoughts on the dollar, the energy, and the metal sector.